close your eyes for a second. Picture the absolute golden age of branding. You know the kind of vibe I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
We're in some high-rise boardroom, maybe late 80s, early 90s. Everyone's in an incredibly sharp suit. And there's this, like, palpable tension because 12 highly paid executives are arguing over the exact shade of Pantone blue for a logo.
The whole Mad Men energy was all about the
And
polish.
actually, it was pure theater. You'd spend, what, 6 months and millions of dollars to craft the perfect three-word slogan?
Something that would guarantee people buy your car or your soda.
Right. It was a broadcast era.
Yeah.
You just projected this carefully curated image outward, and the customer just received it.
Yeah, it was a one-way street. The brand was whatever the billboard said it was.
But now, snap back to today. Right now, you are not looking at a billboard. It's 2 a.m. You're on a website. You're frustrated because your order didn't arrive, and you're typing into a chat box. You are not thinking about the logo. You're not thinking about the Pantone blue. You're thinking, can this thing solve my problem right now?
And if the response you get is just garbage,
Then the brand is garbage.
in that split second, the millions of dollars spent on the fancy logo, they just don't matter. The interaction defines the reality.
That is the scary and I think fascinating pivot we're exploring today. We're taking a deep dive into a piece by J.D. Parashar, who's the founder of Rethink AI. And the headline really says it all. Why AI is now a branding decision, not a tech choice.
It's a massive wake-up call, really. Parashar is basically arguing that while companies are obsessing over, back-end code and efficiency
And cutting costs.
and cutting costs, yeah, they are accidentally rebranding themselves in the eyes of their customers, and usually not for the better.
So that's our mission today. We need to unpack this dangerous disconnect. You have IT departments rolling out these incredibly powerful tools to save a bit of money, but the branding team, the people paid to protect the company's reputation, they aren't even in the room.
Because they think it's just tech. They think it's plumbing. But Parashar's point is that this plumbing is now the water everyone's drinking. We're seeing this massive shift from what a company says to how a company behaves, and more, AI is driving that behavior.
Let's dig into this idea of silent rebranding. It feels a little ominous, like something's happening in the dark.
It is, because it's happening without permission.
Yeah.
And often without any strategy. I mean, think about the last 20 years. Technology was support. It kept the lights on. It processed your Visa card. It managed the database.
Right.
If you went to a bank 20 years ago, the brand was the marble floor, the heavy oak desk, and the smiling teller. The computer system that teller used. Totally invisible to you.
Yep. Right. Unless the whole system went down, I didn't care about their tech stack. It was irrelevant to my feeling about the bank.
Exactly. But Parashar argues that era is dead and buried. Today, whether an organization knows it or not, its AI choices, the chatbots, the recommendation algorithms, the automated email flows, all of that is shaping the brand identity in real time.
But here's the rub, and this is what the article really highlights. Leadership doesn't see it that way. They see AI as 3 things. A productivity upgrade.
A cost reduction tool.
Or a back-end optimization exercise.
And notice what isn't on that list.
The customer.
The customer. And the brand voice.
So you get this situation Parashar calls the isolation problem. The CIO is making decisions based on how many tickets can we close per hour or how cheap is the token cost.
Meanwhile, the CMO is over in the other building worrying about fonts and ad spend and whether the Instagram post looks pretty.
And the result is this huge disconnect. You're letting engineers determine your brand personality by accident. Parashar uses this great concept of brand signals. Every single AI decision sends a signal. If you deploy a chatbot that's curt or confusing or just hallucinates facts, you have just signaled to the world that your brand is careless.
That is such a good way to put it. It reminds me of, imagine you're hiring a customer service rep for your main store.
Okay.
And your only hiring criteria is typing speed. You don't check if they're polite. You don't check if they know the product. You don't check if they share your company values. You just go, wow, 120 words per minute. You're hired. You're the face of our company.
That is a perfect analogy. That is literally what is happening.
And then the company is shocked when that fast typer insults a client or promises a feature that doesn't exist. They treat it like a software bug. But Parashar says, no, that is not a bug.
That's a branding failure.
It's a branding failure. You hired the wrong representative.
Okay, so let's break down the damage here. Parashar lists a few major ways this hits the brand. The first one is the customer experience, or what he calls the voice of the brand.
This is the front line. AI tools now control the tone, the speed, and the empathy of the interaction. And empathy is the really tricky word here.
Can an AI really have empathy? Or are we just talking about faking it well?
Well, that's the branding decision, isn't it? If a human rep sees you're frustrated, they soften their tone, they apologize, they pivot. A standard off-the-shelf AI model that hasn't been fine-tuned for a brand voice might just keep repeating, "I do not understand, please rephrase."
Which feels robotic. It feels so cold.
It feels dismissive, and that feeling sticks.
Hmm.
Parashar points out that a poorly designed AI interaction damages credibility faster than any marketing campaign can possibly fix it.
So you can spend $5 million on a Super Bowl ad that says, "We care about you."
Good. If I go to your site 5 minutes later and your bot traps me in a loop, that $5 million is just gone.
It's wasted instantly.
Instantly, because the behavior contradicted the ad.
There was actually a really sharp comment on the article about this from a reader, Atharva Shah. Did you see that one?
I did, yeah. He was talking about B2B SaaS companies specifically.
Yeah, he said, if an LLM integration is clunky or fails to deliver value, the user perceives the entire brand as incompetent.
Incompetent. That's such a heavy word. He didn't say buggy. He said incompetent.
It is heavy, but I think he's right. If I'm using a software tool and the AI feature is broken or gives me a stupid answer, I don't think, oh, the engineering team had a bad sprint.
No, you think.
I think this whole company doesn't know what they're doing.
It creates a negative halo effect. It erodes trust in the core product. And this is why Parashar says you can't just plug in AI features because they're trendy. If the AI is hallucinating, giving you false information, that's not just a technical glitch.
That is your brand lying to a customer.
Right, which is a perfect bridge to the second impact he talks about.
Oh.
Organizational values and what he calls trust indicators. We're moving from is it polite to can I actually trust you?
This is where the stakes get a lot higher.
For sure. Stakeholders, and that's customers, but also employees and investors, they're asking deeper questions now. It's not just does it work? It's is it transparent? Is it biased? Is it stealing my data?
And usually companies just toss those questions over to the legal department, right?
Because
Hey, are we compliant with the new regulations? Great, ship it.
But Parashar's argument is that these aren't just compliance checkboxes anymore. They are brand trust indicators.
So how does this play out in the real world? Give me an example.
Okay, think about the black box danger. Let's say your bank's brand promise is transparency and partnership.
Okay, yeah, we're in this together. That's the vibe.
Right. But then, to save money on underwriters, you implement an AI system to screen loan applications. It's an opaque black box algorithm.
Okay.
And it rejects a loyal customer of 10 years. When they ask why, the AI and the human staff can't explain it. They just say the computer said no.
Oof. Yeah, that just destroys the partnership narrative instantly.
Instantly. You are saying one thing in your marketing, but your technology is behaving in the complete opposite way. Parashar calls this a brand crisis because you are behaving in a way that contradicts your stated values.
So technology choices are actually moral choices now. Or at least there are choices about consistency.
There are choices about integrity. If you claim to be fair, but your model shows bias because you didn't test it properly, you can't just blame the software vendor. Your brand is the one that broke the promise, and that is a reputation killer.
Okay, let's move to the third impact, strategic maturity. This is more about how the company looks to the market and its competitors.
Right. Your AI deployment is a signal. It tells the market if you're a leader or a follower.
I feel like I see a lot of imitation right now. Everyone has an Ask AI Sparkle button on their app, even if it doesn't do anything useful.
That is exactly what Parashar calls short-term optimization. It's reactive. You're just scared of being less behind, so you bolt on a feature, but it can look desperate. It can look like confusion.
As opposed to what? What does the adult in the room look like?
They look like long-term thinkers. Parashar argues that in many industries, AI maturity is becoming synonymous with brand maturity. If you use AI to actually solve a deep customer problem in a seamless way, you look like an innovator. If you're just plugging in random tools that barely work, you look like you're flailing.
And that flailing leads to the risks of a tech-first approach. One thing mentioned that I found really interesting was this idea of a fragmented experience.
Well, this is rampant. And it's a direct result of that isolation problem we talked about earlier. You have sales buying one AI tool, support buys a different one, marketing buys a third for copywriting.
So the sales bot is super aggressive and uses emojis, but the support bot sounds like a robot lawyer from the 1950s.
Exactly. Different personalities, different data sets, different memories. That is brand dilution. You lose that singular, cohesive identity that companies spend decades building.
You become a schizophrenic brand.
Pretty much. And there's another risk here too, right? Commoditization.
The vanilla problem, as the article puts it.
Yes. If everyone is using the same off-the-shelf plug-and-play LLM with all the default settings,
Then we all just sound like ChatGPT.
precisely, you
Yeah.
lose your differentiation. If your brand voice is just the default setting of GPT-4, you don't have a brand voice, you have a commodity. You sound like everyone else. So why should I choose you?
Okay, so we've painted a pretty chaotic picture here. The disconnect is dangerous. The risks are high. Companies are accidentally rebranding themselves as incompetent or robotic. But Parashar doesn't just leave us in all the doom and gloom. He proposes a solution he calls intelligent experience design.
And this is the strategic pivot. We have to stop thinking about storytelling, which is traditional marketing, and start thinking about behavior design.
And the core question every company has to ask is, what does our use of AI say about who we are?
That is the question. And to answer it, Parashar gives us this 4-step framework. This is the practical playbook for leaders who actually want to fix this.
All right, let's walk through these. Step 1, define brand intelligence identity.
This is such a cool concept. You have to decide, how smart should our brand appear?
Is there a wrong answer to that? I mean, don't you always want to be the smartest person in the room?
Not necessarily. It totally depends on your brand archetype. Think about it. If you're a high-end luxury concierge service, like a bespoke travel agency, you want your AI to be sophisticated, proactive, maybe even a little witty.
Okay, high touch. That makes sense.
But if you're a discount utility provider or, you're filing a tax return, maybe you just want your AI to be fast, simple, and functional.
Huh.
You don't want your tax software trying to be your best friend or making jokes.
Right. I don't need the pizza delivery bot quoting Shakespeare at me.
Exactly. It's about appropriateness.
Yeah.
And you also have to define where AI should enhance human judgment versus where it replaces it. Where do you draw that line? That's an identity question, not a tech question.
Got it. So know who you are. Step 2 is align use cases with values.
This is the filter. Every single AI initiative needs to pass a test. Does this reinforce trust? Does it align with our brand promise? If the answer is no, you just don't deploy it.
That sounds nice in theory, but this is where the rubber meets the road, isn't it? This
Yeah.
means a CMO has to stand up and say, no, we are not deploying this cost-saving tool because it feels impersonal.
Correct. And that is hard. Saying no to efficiency is painful. But Parashar argues that if the tool degrades the brand experience, the long-term cost is way higher than the short-term savings. That's what brand discipline looks like.
Okay. Step 3, integrate teams. We touched on this earlier, the silos. But how do you actually do it? Marketing speaks one language, tech speaks another.
And leadership usually speaks a third language, finance. Parashar says AI branding fails when these silos exist. True AI-led brands operate as integrated systems.
So it's not just having a meeting once a quarter where the IT guy updates the marketing guy.
No, it's cross-functional squads. You need a brand strategist sitting next to the prompt engineer. The brand person needs to understand the limits of the model, and the engineer needs to understand the tone of voice and the customer journey. They have to share a vocabulary.
So the prompt engineer is basically a brand writer now.
100%. They are writing the script for the brand's behavior.
And finally, step 4, govern as a brand asset.
This totally flips the script on responsible AI. Usually companies see governance, ethics checks, bias testing, safety rails, as a burden. A tax they have to pay. It just slows things down.
Oh, great. Legal wants to review the bot again.
Right. But Parashar has this fantastic quote. Responsible AI is not a cost. It is brand insurance.
Brand insurance. I like that framing.
It protects your reputation. It protects your long-term equity. If you view governance as insurance, suddenly it's not annoying. It's essential. It ensures you don't wake up to a PR nightmare because your AI insulted someone or leaked private data or just acted like a jerk. It protects the asset.
It's worth noting here that J.D. Parashar, our source, is the founder of Rethink AI. And looking at their broader work, this seems to be their whole thesis. Repositioning AI from a back-end capability to a strategic brand asset.
It's a very smart positioning. Their goal is ensuring every single AI decision strengthens credibility instead of eroding it. It's moving from we have AI to we are an intelligent enterprise.
It really changes how you look at a chatbot. It's not a script anymore, it's an ambassador.
It is. And the big takeaway for me is that your brand is no longer what you tell people it is. Your brand is how intelligently your organization behaves, silently and at scale. Every time a bot answers a query, every time an algorithm recommends a product, your brand is being built or destroyed.
It's terrifying, but also kind of empowering if you get it right. You can actually design that behavior.
Absolutely. But you have to be intentional. You can't just buy the software and hope for the best.
So here's the final thought to leave you with today. It's a challenge that comes directly from the source. We know AI affects your brand. That's not up for debate anymore.
The real question is, are you intentionally designing that impact? Or are you just letting it happen by default?
Because if you let it happen by default, the algorithm is going to define your brand for you. And looking at some of the examples we've seen, you probably won't like the result.
You definitely won't.
That's it for this deep dive. Thanks for listening. And hey, go check on what your chatbots are saying to your customers before it's too late.
See you next time.